History of the Battle of Hattin, one of the most catastrophic defeats in Christian history, inflicted by the forces of Islam. It was this battle that led directly to the fall of Crusader-held Jerusalem to Saladin in 1187. Rather than spoil your barbecue and fireworks with a July 4th video commemorating that disaster, I chose to wait until today, July 5th, to recount a far lesser known but equally horrific event that took place a day after Hattin. It's especially relevant as it centers on the very subjects of my latest book, The Two Swords of Christ, the Knights of the Temple and Hospital. I speak, of course, of the ritual beheading of these warrior monks of Christendom. Unlike the average captured crusader, these knights were denied ransom. In fact, Saladin went so far as to ransom any Templar or Hospitaller from their Muslim captors for 50 dinars apiece, simply to ensure that he could personally witness their slaughter, sheared like sheep. Before this grisly spectacle unfolded, the magnanimous Sultan offered them one final humiliation, a chance at life in exchange for conversion. Any knight willing to utter the words, the Shahada, or Islamic profession of faith, would be spared and welcomed into the Ummah as a brother. On the evening of July 4th, just after the battle, Saladin gave this ultimatum to the roughly 300 Templars and Hospitallers he had captured or bought. He then sent them to a makeshift desert prison to contemplate their fate, death or Islam. That night, amid the howls and jeers of their captors, the brethren of the temple and hospital did not panic or plead. Instead, they reconfirmed their vows to Christ and prepared for what they saw not as doom, but martyrdom. As the contemporary Itinerarium Peregrinorum records, quote, "A certain Templar named Nicholas had been so successful in persuading the rest to undergo death willingly that the others struggled to go in front of him, and he only just succeeded in obtaining the glory of martyrdom first, which was an honor he very much strove for." 19th century historian Charles G. Addison vividly describes their final passion, quote, "The warlike monks of the temple and of the hospital, the bravest and most zealous defenders of the Christian faith, were, of all the warriors of the cross, the most obnoxious to zealous Muslims. Accordingly, on the Christian Sabbath, at the hour of sunset, the Muslims were drawn up in battle array, and at the sound of the holy trumpet, all the captive knights were led to the eminence above Tiberias, in full view of the lake of Gennesareth. There, as the last rays of the sun were fading from the mountaintops, they were called upon to deny him who had been crucified. To a man they refused, and were all decapitated in the presence of Saladin." Both Christian and Muslim chroniclers agree on why Saladin executed the orders. The Itinerarium Peregrinorum bluntly states that Saladin, quote, "decided to have them utterly exterminated because he knew that they surpassed all others in battle." Ibn al-Athir, a contemporary Muslim historian, echoed the same. He wrote, quote, "These two groups were especially selected for execution because they had the greatest valor of all the Franks. He, Saladin, wrote to his deputy in Damascus ordering him to kill all who fell into his hands. It was Saladin's custom to execute the Templars and Hospitallers because of their fierce enmity towards the Muslims and their great courage." The eyewitness, Ahmad al-Din, Saladin's own court official, records the most detailed account. After the battle, he heard Saladin declare, quote, "I will purify the earth of these two filthy races, for they will certainly not desist from aggression, and they will not serve in capacity." So Saladin, he continues, quote, "ordered that they should be beheaded, choosing to have them dead rather than in prison. Many of the Sultan's men, especially the expounders of Sharia law, begged to be allowed to kill one of them. They drew their scimitars, rolled up their sleeves. Saladin, his face joyful, was sitting on his throne." Ahmad recounts how some executioners, quote, "slashed and cut cleanly," unquote, while others made a mess of things. Eventually, some faltered, unable to stomach the labor. But Ahmad exalts one zealous slayer, possibly Saladin himself, who, quote, "killed unbelief, or kufr, infidelity, to give life to Islam. I saw the man who laughed scornfully and slaughtered, who spoke and acted. How many promises he fulfilled, how much praise he won, the eternal rewards he secured with the blood he shed, the pious works added to his account with each neck severed by him." Interestingly, the slaughter of the Knights of the Temple and Hospital, which is copiously recorded in both Christian and Muslim accounts, has, for some odd reason, never made it in any of the big-budget Hollywood films that otherwise revolve around Saladin's magnanimity, most notably Ridley Scott's 2005 Kingdom of Heaven. Meanwhile, this same incident, being so well documented and celebrated in Muslim sources, continues to inspire modern-day jihadist organizations. The Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, ISIS, has made several films intentionally modeled after Saladin's beheading of the Knights of the Military Orders, the most notorious being ISIS's decapitation of 21 Coptic Christians in Libya, 2015. At any rate, such was the power of the Knights of the Temple and Hospital, and such was the hate and fear that Muslims had for them. In support of Christendom, they committed themselves to fighting Islamic aggression. And when the time came, they chose martyrdom over life. And yet today, many soft, secularized Western Christians, virtually indistinguishable from their atheistic counterparts, dismiss these men as fanatics, not true Christians. To learn more about these forgotten defenders of the faith, check out my new book, The Two Swords of Christ, 5 Centuries of War Between Islam and the Warrior Monks of Christendom.